We are back. We're a little bit earlier than planned because my guest is on a road trip. She is going to the State Democratic Convention in Florida. I am talking to Jen Perlman, who is going to be running against Debbie Wasserman Schultz in Florida's 23rd district. Jen, thank you so much for joining me from the car, no less.
Thanks for having me on your show.
All right, we got a little bit of a lag, but we should be able to we'll be able to plow through it and get some information in here. So I guess my first question is, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, a true champion for progressives, one of the most ethical people in politics. Why are you running against her? Why are you trying to pick off an ally?
Why would anybody challenge such a upfront and honest person? Why would that happen? She's been my congressperson for 15 years. And so I actually have watched the everything that, everyone knows her from 2016 from the DNC, but there's a lot more to her than that. Just people don't realize, because that's what she's most known for.
Yeah, well, she's involved in payday lending. And for anybody who might not be familiar with this show, it might not have noticed the sarcasm slide. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is so corrupt that honestly, in the title of this video, like I just thought about that, like right before I logged in with you. The title of this video, I just put DWS because for her, that's all you need. She is such a face of corruption. Those are just infamous initials now, almost like HRC. Now, of course, in Hillary's case, it's like, well, she was a presidential nominee who lost to the most beatable candidate maybe in the history of American politics. So that's why she's infamous. But with Debbie Wasserman Schultz, it's like she is that corrupt, that she is that infamous. She's involved in payday lending, and she's supposed to be on the left. She's involved in payday lending. She has sat by while some of the most corrupt election practices in the country have gone on in Florida. I mean, we can start with 2000 and bring it up to present. And of course, there was 2016 where she was hugely instrumental in putting her thumb on the scale for Hillary Clinton and screwing over Bernie Sanders. So you're running up against her. What made you want to get involved with politics? I know I saw your campaign ad where you had a cat in it, so you won me over immediately.
Are you a cat person?
Oh, I'm a huge cat person. I'm a huge cat. Lucy's on the couch, but yeah, I'm a huge cat person.
In some ways, I feel like this is something that I've been preparing to do forever. Just my background is in journalism and marketing and law. So I've always had an interest in policy. I actually went to law school so that I could lobby for nonprofit. And so I've always been interested in policy and just really the incentive. I think somewhat 18 was motivating that a bunch of non-corporate people were able to get through. It was somewhat inspiring to think that, okay, maybe there's a chance for non-corporate people to actually have successful grassroots campaigns. So I think it was just also a timing issue, just where I am now and having the time to be able to do this.
So you guys are on your way to the State Democratic Convention, and one of the things you mentioned before we went live here, none of the presidential candidates are going to be there. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what I have been told. Yes.
So what's going on? Are they just writing off Florida for 2020? Or are they just saying, hey, Trump's got it, we're not even going to try?
It appears that way. I mean, for the most part, Florida is very red. I think that there's only, out of 60 something counties, I think there's only 8 of them, right? Seven that are blue counties. So I mean, in terms of just them doing the best cost benefit analysis, it probably doesn't make the most sense for them to invest heavily in Florida in terms of, the Trump factor.
Do you think a progressive could win in Florida, though? I mean, I understand what you're saying about the state as a whole, but there are a lot of huge progressive swellings in Florida who are tired of the status quo. They're tired of the corruption in Washington politics, and they really connected with a Bernie Sanders or someone similar. Do you think a Bernie Sanders could win in Florida in 2020?
In my dream universe, yes, but I don't know that that's, I've lived here, I've been in Florida my whole life. So, we're used to it being a red state. And so it would be a very pleasant surprise. Now, I do think, that being said, that there are places and pockets in Florida where Bernie can definitely do better than others. Broward and Miami-Dade are definitely better places for him than, say, somewhere in the middle of the state.
So, what is your kind of strategy for victory then? How are you going to go out? I mean, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, even despite her incredibly tarnished reputation, still has very deep pockets, and she still has, and I don't think it's beneath her to cheat, as we have plenty of evidence of. So, kind of, how are you kind of getting the message out? How are you trying to spread the word about what you're doing, and what is kind of like the strategy going forward? How are you going to pull off a W?
I think it isn't even going to come down to the money. I think that she's obviously going to outraise us. She'll get lots of money. She already has lots of money. So I don't really concern myself with what she has. I just think about what we need to have in order to do what we want to do. But it's going to be really just going out into the community and canvassing and talking to people. That's what it's going to come down to. And she'll be able to spend a fortune of money on ads and a whole bunch of things. But I think when it comes down to it, people want to change. And I think that people will be receptive, especially when they get personalized messages and people come to their door.
So have you started some of that, and what has the response been so far? I mean, are a lot of people kind of sharing that frustration? Are they tired of the status quo? Are they tired of her?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that for the majority of people that we actually come into contact with have a very negative opinion of her. There are, she does have some people that are supporters, but it's definitely there.
What do the supporters say?
Well, they won't even engage. Actually, it's interesting. People, yeah, because it isn't about facts. It's not about anything reason. It's just they like her because they like her. It's generally older women, and that is just how it is. There's no reasoning. It just is. So the truth is I don't even engage. When somebody is one of those people, I just say, that's fine. Have a nice day. That's it, because they're not receptive.
Wow. I can't imagine. I mean, she's one of those politicians that is just corrupt to the core, to the point where you're just like, how are you a fan of this? Like, what is it you're connecting with here? Like, what do you
just like her? It's not, that's what I'm saying. It's not rational. There's nothing rational about it. They don't have any reasons. They don't have any policies. There's no there, right? They just like her because they like her. And for a lot of people, it's just what they're used to, and they go with the familiar name. And that's just it. They just know her and they're used to her.
So talk a little bit more about your background then. You said you got started in journalism. Yeah. Did you write for a paper or what all? Unpack some of that for me.
Things. Actually, interestingly, when I was in high school, I was the religion editor for the neighbor section of the Miami Herald, which is ironic because I am not a very religious person. But I went to college for journalism. I graduated with a degree in journalism. That's what I wanted to do. And then sort of from there fell into advertising, media relations. It sort of led into this chain of events. And then I ended up the media relations manager for the Indiana Chamber of Commerce, which was where I decided I really was interested in policy and wanted to go to law school and be a lobbyist. So
you lived in Indiana then?
I did. I lived in Indianapolis.
Oh, okay. I went to IU.
Oh, my husband went to IUPUI for med school.
Oh, cool. Right on. Yeah.
So that's why we were there. And I didn't mind. The weather is not so good there.
No, it's not. I mean, I grew up in Pennsylvania, so it was actually an upgrade for me. It was a little less snowier and a little less cold in southern Indiana than Pennsylvania was. But yeah, I live in Southern California now, and I kind of I appreciate the weather very much. So.
Yeah, Indiana, we used to call it Naptown for Indiana, Indianapolis. We called it Naptown. The people are very friendly there. I will say that.
Oh, totally.
It's Midwestern people are like my favorite people. So I like that about it. But yeah, I actually wanted to lobby, and I went to law school to be a lobbyist, but I wanted to lobby for things like the Innocence Project, or, I had certain ideas in my head about that the good guys needed lobbyists too. So that's really what I went to law school for. And then I ended up doing criminal law.
So you made the big mistake of going to law school for genuine reasons, which if you want to pursue like an ethical law career, you totally can. You're just bound to not make near as much money as most of your peers. Is that fair to say?
It is. And it's funny, when I first came out of law school, I was doing criminal defense because in the way Texas has it, there's no public defender's offices in the big counties. They give appointments to attorneys from the bench. So it was very flexible. So you could work when you want or not. And I had a baby at the time. So it was just very convenient for me. And I really enjoyed doing the criminal cases. So I actually ended up liking it, even though that was my original plan from going to law school.
So where can people learn more about your campaign? You're a progressive going up against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. You're on the road, but you're taking some time to talk to us. You're on your way to a convention. You're doing the work. Where can people learn more about you?
Oh, we definitely need all the help we can get. We need everybody to donate who can. We're really wanting this to be monthly small dollar donations. We're asking $23 a month for District 23 at gen2020.com. And then our
gen2020.com.
Yeah, and our Facebook is Gen2020. And then on Twitter and Instagram, we're at GenFL23.
Awesome. All right. And we will make sure there's a link to the website below so people can go. They can learn more about you. Thank you so much for squeezing this in. Thank you for making the time for this. I appreciate you coming at me from the car. And Jen, definitely wish you all the best.
Thank you.
We definitely need a solid progressive instead of Debbie Wasserman Schultz in there. That'd be a huge help. So all the best to you. If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. I'm sure we'll have you back on again at some point. And all the best. Thanks for
All right. Thank you so much, Ron.
All right. Safe travels.
All right. Bye.